Hi, I'm going to read you one story now. The story's title is The Quiet Valet. The kitchen clock ticked too loudly that morning. Lena had been awake since before dawn, sitting beside her son Ethan's bed, counting the slow rise and fall of his chest. His breathing came with a soft rattle, a sound she had come to dread. The doctors called it chronic lung inflammation. She called it the thing that keeps me awake. When Ethan was first diagnosed, her husband Mark told her, "You should leave your job. I will handle the money. Focus on Ethan." It sounded good, and in the beginning, it even looked good. At first, it was comforting. The way Mark took over the bills, how he would leave envelopes of receipt on the counter and assure her, "Don't worry, I have got this handled." He brought home takeout when she was too exhausted to cook, rubbed her shoulders when nights stretched long, and said things like, "You shouldn't have to think about money right now." And Lena believed him. She believed him because she wanted to. Because love, she thought, was about trusting that someone else could carry the weight when you couldn't. When she stopped working, it wasn't supposed to be forever. Just until Ethan got better. But months turned into seasons, and with each passing one, she noticed fewer things were hers. The debit card she used sat untouched in a drawer. Her name slowly vanished from accounts. To simplify things, when she would ask for grocery money, Mark would sigh, "You don't need to keep track of that stuff, Lena. I am taking care of us." And it was said with just enough warmth to make her feel guilty for doubting him. Then, without a single dramatic movement, the air between them shifted. It wasn't overnight, it was quiet erosion, like water wearing down stone. He started counting the bills before handing them to her. "Just so we stay on budget," he would say. The groceries became her responsibility, but the money became his. When Ethan's medicine cost more one month, she caught the flicker of annoyance in his eyes as he muttered, "We can't keep spending like this." Slowly, his kindness began to sound like reminders, and his reminders began to sound like rules. And by the then grocery became her responsibility, but money became his. When Ethan's medicine cost more one month, she caught the flicker of annoyance in his eyes as he muttered, "We can't keep spending like this." Slowly, his kindness began to sound like reminders, and his reminders began to sound like rules. And by the time Lena realized what was happening, there were no shared accounts left, no password she knew, and no way to buy milk without asking first. Lena tried to smile, tried to make it enough. She learned to buy discounted vegetables near expiration and cut meat into smaller pieces. When Ethan needed medicine, she skipped dinner to afford it. when she asked him gently if he could add her name back to the bank account. He looked at her for a long moment, then said, "If you want access to the money, go get a job." Her voice broke when she whispered, "I can't leave Ethan alone." Mark shrugged. "Then that's your choice." That word choice stung more than anything. It was Thursday night when Mark came home, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the picture frames. The smell of burnt rice still lingered in the kitchen. Dinner gone wrong while Lena was tending to Ethan's coughing fit. Mark looked at the pan, the cold stew on the table, then at her. "This is what you have been doing all day?" he barked. "You sit around the house, you don't work, you can't even make a decent meal." She tried to explain, her voice trembling, that Ethan had a fever and that she lost track of time. But he wasn't listening. "Other women manage both," he snapped. "You don't even try." He scraped the food into the trash, the sound of metal against porcelain sharp as glass. "Do you know how hard I work to pay for all this?" he said, gesturing to the small fading kitchen as though it were a palace. "And this is what I come home to? You are lucky I don't make you earn your own keep." She stood still, hands trembling, eyes fixed on the wall clock because she couldn't bear to look at him. When he finally stormed out of the room, she sank to the floor, gathered a discarded pot, and whispered softly to herself, "I will do better tomorrow." But tomorrow always looked the same. The house was quiet most days, just the sound of oxygen machines' hum and Ethan's laughter, fragile and bright, echoing in the little spaces between worry. He was 8 years old and wise in ways children shouldn't be. "Mommy," he asked one night, "why don't we even go anywhere?" Lena smiled softly. "Because home is where we get better." He nodded, satisfied with that, and fell asleep clutching her hand. She stayed up all night, watching the shadows crawl across the wall, wondering how better always seemed to belong to everyone else. The next month, Mark came home angry. He threw the mail onto the table. Unopened bills, overdue notices. "What did you buy this time?" he snapped. Lena flinched. "Just medicine, groceries." He leaned close, the smell of whiskey heavy on his breath. "You think money grows on trees? You are lucky I even keep a roof over your head." Her throat tightened. "I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't pay bills," he said, slamming a cupboard door. The door cracked. Something inside her did too. After that night, she started keeping a small notebook, her secret. Every dollar she could save went into it. Loose change from grocery trips, a few single bills hidden behind the sugar tin. It wasn't much, but it was hers. She called it the maybe money. Maybe for gas, maybe for lawyer, maybe for freedom. Ethan got worse in the winter. The cold air made it hard for him to breathe, and they couldn't afford to turn the heat high enough. Lena bundled him in blankets and whispered stories to distract him. One night he whispered, "Mommy, am I making Daddy mad?" Her heart shattered. "No, baby, never. You are the best thing in my world." He nodded weakly. "Then why does he yell so much?" She kissed his forehead and said nothing. That night she cried quietly in the bathroom, biting a towel to muffle the sound. By spring, the doctor said Ethan needed a new inhaler, $180. When she asked Mark for the money, he laughed. We can't afford luxuries right now. His medicine isn't a luxury, she said softly. His eyes hardened. Everything costs money, Lena. Maybe if you pulled your weight. She stopped listening. That night she sold her wedding ring online. It wasn't much, but enough to buy the inhaler. When the package came, she hid it before Mark got home. Ethan smiled brighter that week and a few days. It felt like she could breathe too. A few months later, the notebook was full. Coins, small bills, hopes scrawled in trembling handwriting. She had exactly $327.40, enough for a bus ticket and few nights somewhere safe. She waited for the right moment. It came one evening when Mark went on a business trip. She packed lightly Ethan's favorite blanket, his medication, the photo of him at age 3 when he still had chubby cheeks and carefree smile. She whispered to him, "We are going on an adventure." He smiled in his sleep as if he already knew. At dawn, she stood at the bus stop holding Ethan close, her hands shaking. Every minute felt stolen. Every sound made her flinch. But when the bus pulled up, the driver gave her a kind smile and said, "Headed somewhere special?" She nodded yes, somewhere safe. The bus door hissed shut behind her. For the first time in years, she exhaled without fear. She didn't look back. Months later, in a small apartment 2 towns over, Lena watched Ethan draw at the kitchen table. He was healthier now, the air warmer, the light softener. He looked up and said, "Mommy, are we happy now?" Her eyes filled with tears. "We are getting there, sweetheart." She still worked nights cleaning offices. The money was tight, but when she opened her wallet, it was her wallet. Every dollar had a story. Every breath of her son was proof that she had survived. And sometimes, late at night, when the silence felt too heavy, she would open that old notebook, the one filled with coins and courage, and whisper, "This was how we began again." And she would cry, not from sadness anymore, but from the quiet relief of finally being free. Years passed. Ethan grew tall and strong, his lungs finally clear, his laughter no longer interrupted by coughing. He worked as a nurse, gentle and patient, helping children who once sounded like he used to. Every paycheck he sent part of it to his mother, not out of duty but love. Lena was older now, her hands tired from years of scrubbing floors and holding too much together. Yet when Ethan walked in the door after work and kissed her forehead, she felt something she hadn't in decades: safety. One evening, he surprised her with a small house near the coast, where sunlight poured through the windows and no one raised their voice. She cried as she unpacked the last of her things, the notebook, still kept in perfect condition. "You don't ever have to worry again, Mom," Ethan said, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. And for the first time she believed it. The past had taken much, but what is left behind, love, strength, freedom, was finally enough. Thank you for listening.